1971 to 1974. Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler.
Game 117, Phillies at Marlins.
Welcome back, baseball fans. 1971-74 Carryover League. We are back today in the National League East and a best-of-7 series between the Phillies and the Marlins. Two teams who are not in a good situation in a division with the Mets and Braves, who are the top two favorites to be a division winner and a wild card. And it's going to be hard for Philly and Florida to make something out of their seasons. However, hope is eternal, and they both had pretty good drafts, and they've had interesting, pretty good starts. In this series, however, it's been a little one-sided, and we'll see that. Let's go take a look at what happened as it opened up in Philadelphia for Game 1. Ed Acosta for the Marlins. Wayne Twitchell for the Phillies. Marlins can hit, folks. They just crack hits. They get out to a 3-0 lead, but the Phillies come back with 3 in the bottom half of the second. 3 straight singles in the third, it's 4-3. A solo homer in the fifth by Hal McRae, it's 5-3. Tim McCarver homer, 5-4. 7-4 Phillies, bottom of the sixth. 7-4 Marlins, bottom of the sixth. 7-7 game. These teams are like just trading punches at a furious pace here. Bunch of consecutive hits and not much defense, not much starting pitching here. Acosta and Twitchell are gone by the 7th inning. In a tie game, Mike Schmidt, the rookie, the kid, gets a homer off of their lefty reliever Reynolds, and that's the deciding run, as finally the Phillies get some good relief pitching by Fred Gladding and Joe Horner to get an 8-7 victory in Game 1. This is, by the way, the first loss of the year for the Marlins. They went out of the gates by sweeping Arizona 3 straight, so don't shed money tears for Florida quite yet. It's been kind of an all-or-nothing season thus far. Game number 2 in Philadelphia. And again, the crooked number runs is the theme here. Bottom of the first inning for the Phillies. A double by Gary Maddox, a walk by Tim McCarver, and that kid, the rookie, Michael Jack Schmidt, 3-run bomb. 3-0 Phillies, and the Marlins go, okay, whatever. Single, 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 there's a run. A homer by Roger Repos, there's a run. A 2-run homer by Willie Montanez, former Philly, and there's the lead, 4-3. Marlins just come back. But in the 7th inning, Steve Arlen, the starter, breaks, and Tom Bergmeyer really stumbles as an early MVP, shall we say, candidate. Mike Schmidt, 2-run homer in a 4-run 7th inning, 2nd homer of the game, 3rd of the series, with more to come, and the Phillies win game number 2, 7-4. So we go to Florida for Game 3. And in game number 3, it is Barry Lersch for the Phillies, Rich Folkers for the Marlins. In the first inning, a walk, a single, a walk, a sac fly by Darren Johnson, and you guessed it, folks, I'm not making this up. Mike Schmidt, 3-run bomb. It's like it's 1980 for this kid. And the funny part about all this, folks, is that if you look at the Strat-O-Matic card of 1974 for Mike Schmidt, it doesn't look too terribly different from his MVP years of 80 and 81. In between, it varies. But he really had a great second year. His 73 season, he hit below the Mendoza line. But Schmidt had this incredible 74, and the Phillies are riding this as if they're going to go to the playoffs like they would in last half of the decade. But here come those Marlins again, 4-0 deficit. They don't care. They get a 2-run homer by Willie Montanez. They get a run in the third. And they get a run in the 6th. And once again, the Marlins come back from a deficit. I tell you what, they may not win a lot of games, but the Marlins aren't scared by going down 3, 4, 5, nothing in the game. They come back, and they've done it every game, though it hasn't worked out for them. Neither team would score after this until the extra innings. It's a battle of relievers. Jerry Johnson, 2 shutout innings with 2 hits and a walk. Jose Pena, 3 innings, 3 hits, but a run in the 10th after a single, a wild pitch, and a 2-out double by Darren Johnson. 5-4, bottom of the 10th, and Joe Horner, an outstanding lefty closer for the Philly team. Collecting saves for a team that wants to be, well, they want to have a winning record. Something they didn't have in 72. But Joe Horner could be the closer to do that. And, yeah, another save in this series. A 5-4 victory for the Phillies. They've won 3 games without their famous left-hander pitching in this series, because he pitched the last game before the series began. And that's where we are in a game 4. And so finally, a well-rested Steve Carlton will come out here today, folks. Let's take a look at today's pitching matchups. Steve Carlton for the Phillies, up 3-0 in the series, wanting to get a sweep on the road. This is 72 Carlton, of course, 27-game winner, 1.98 ERA in 5,000 innings. Actually, it was 346 innings. It must have seemed like 5,000 innings to the opponents of the Phillies. And for the Marlins, it's going to be a very young Bruce Del Canton, a pitcher that was in the league, then out of the league, and then he's coming back. Was a Kansas City Royal, was an Atlanta Brave. We have his 71 card, 8-6, 345, and 141 innings for the Royals. He'll be doing it for the Marlins today. Carlton, Del Canton, must-win situation for the Marlins. If you want to assume what's going to happen, the Phillies will get 3 or 4 runs in the first 4 innings, and the Marlins will come back and tie it. That's sort of been what we've seen the entire series. Let's get started from Florida. Leading off for the Phillies, Gary Maddox. 54, center X. In center field today, Louis Melendez, a 3-4 in center field, and he makes the grab. Tony Taylor, 1-9 rolls the third. Tim McCarver, 5-10, catcher's card. Catching for the Marlins is Ellie Rodriguez, 2-14, makes the play. Ellie's going to lead off for the Marlins as he has a great on-base percentage. And there's the pitch from lefty. 58 is a strikeout. Felix putting me on. 2-5. No, we're not. Grounds the third. 2 outs for Celerino Sanchez. 48 off of lefty is a strikeout. Top of 2. It's Lazinski. 52 flies left. Mike Schmidt. 38 Ks. He's become a legend already this year. Johnny Callison, 47, is a base hit off Del Canton. 1 on, 2 outs. And it's Larry Boa. 45, rolls a second. Bottom of the second inning, it's Hal McRae. 56 is a strikeout. Vic Davalillo, 211, rolls a second. And Manny Mota, 46. This is double 1 of 4 off of Carlton, and he gets it to wreck the no-hitter. Runner at second for Roger Repose. 1/8's a walk. 2 on, 2 outs. Louis Melendez. 45 off of Carlton's card is 111 single. This is all off of Carlton. A run will score. And the Marlins have a lead. Runners on the corners. 2 outs for Marty Martinez. 35 is single 1-13, and they gets it. I'm telling you, these Marlins, they don't give up. They're oblivious as to how overmatched they seem to be. A bunch of castaways from other organizations. First and second with 2 outs for Ellie Rodriguez. 68 is a fly to right. Wouldn't it be funny for the Phillies to win 3 straight with their secondary pitchers, and for their ace, the 27-game winner in 1972, to lose to an expansion team. That would be par for this wild season. Top of the third we go. It's Darren Johnson. 67 off Del Canton, single 1-2, and he lines out. Denny Doyle 1-6 is a K. And Gary Maddox, 53, pitcher. Bottom of the third. Felix putting me on. No, strikes out. Celerino Sanchez rolls to short. And Mr. Hal McRae flies to left field. We'll go to the fourth. Tony Taylor, 59, second. Muck Carver, 310 is a walk. Lazinski, 412, right C, and with 2 outs. Mike Schmidt, 2-8 is a K. Bottom of the fourth. Vic Davalillo, 49 off Carlton is second X. Second baseman today. Denny Doyle's a 2E14 at second base. And he kicks a ground ball. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy. Ace stealer. 0-arm catcher. Davalillo's going to take off with a lead. And that was not a good move. He's cut down. Well, they had a 2-0 lead. They had to figure out ways of beating lefty. Knowing the odds are stacked against them. Try to take a chance with a lead, and it didn't work out. Manny Mota. 1-9 is a single. C-stealer. He won't steal. Roger Repose. 46, double 1 off of Carlton. And misses it, of course. And with 2 outs, it's Luis Melendez. Second X, again. This time, the second baseman Doyle makes the play. We'll go to the fifth of a 2-0 game. The Phillies have fallen asleep after ripping off 3 straight wins. John Callison, 48, double 1-4 off Del Canton is a single. Bo was going to try a hit and run here, try and wake up this offense. The hit and run moves the runner to second base. Darren Johnson, 58, is a pop to short, and with 2 outs, it'll be Denny Doyle. For 11, left X. This is Mota, a 3E2 in left field, and he makes the grab. Bruce Del Canton, folks. Nice little 2-hitter through 5 innings. It's been a year of the pitcher, at least on YouTube. I mean, it's funny because I had some nice offensive games, not on YouTube, in games 1, 2, and 3. And the moment I want to broadcast, it's 2-zip. Bottom of the fifth. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right. Bottom of the fifth. It'll be Marty Martinez. 3-6 left. Ellie Rodriguez. I don't think I've shown any cards because none of the offenses come off of them. It's been off of lefty's card, believe it or not. Ellie Rodriguez, 1-8. This is a base hit. Felix Beyond, 64, catcher's card. McCarver's a 4E12. It's not the greatest defense by any stretch. Pass ball. Runner and scoring position for Celerino Sanchez, 43. Left X. Here we go again. Bad defense. Greg Luzinski's a 4E13. And he makes the catch. Wow, that's a tough break for the Marlins. Could not get an extra run off the defense. 6th inning for Bruce Del Canton. Top of the Philly lineup, Gary Maddox. 34 rolls to short. Tony Taylor, 48 is a base hit. And your tie run now is Tim McCarver. 47 off Del Canton is a single to right field. Taylor, does he try going coast to coast off of... No, not down 2 runs. Del Canton's a starter 7 as well. Can't break him here. 2 on, 1 out for Greg the Bull Luzinski. 1-7. Let's take a look at a card. I haven't seen one all day, and now we get one in a run scoring opportunity. 1-7 off Luzinski here. This is his second year, 72. 600 and some plate appearances, 281 and 18 home runs. He'll look a lot like this throughout the decade. Corner outfielder, he could play first base in this era, though we don't need him to. But 1-7 is triple 1-5 single ... It is a single ... and the Phillies have something going on. run scores. A runner goes to third in a 2-1 game. Belcanton will continue, though. He's been good until now. The infield will come up for Mike Schmidt. 36 is ball 4. That loads the bases for Johnny Callison. Belcanton is not broken. That's the saving grace here. Otherwise, it would have been hooked. You almost want to hook him now, but your lefty setup guy, Ken Reynolds, is not much. Kind of between a rock and a hard place here. I think you just got to play back and hope you get a double play and just deal with it. Because Johnny Callison and Larry Boa aren't exactly dominant. So that's what they're going to do. They'll leave Belcanton in there. Better than the relievers. With the bases loaded, 1 out, playing back, it is Johnny Callison. Here's the pitch. 59, short X. Now, the Florida shortstop is Marty Martinez. He's a 4E18. 4E13, but you put in the 18. And it turns into a single off the shortstop. Well, the strategy was right. The result is not what you wanted. But, yeah. You had that ground ball, it just didn't work out. So now I get the bases loaded in a tie game with 1 out. Boa with the infield up. Again, he's not the type of hitter to encourage a pitching change. So Belcanton will pitch to him in a 2-2 tie with the infield up. 56 off Belcanton is a pop to third. Now, if he was a starter 6, well, he probably would have been pulled, but it would have been a single off his breaking point. So now he's fought this far. He's got one more batter, Darren Johnson. Let's take a look at Darren Johnson, as he is better against lefties. Did hit 34 homers in 71, and 650 plate appearances with a 265 batting average. Good defensive first baseman. Probably his last really good year for Darren Johnson. But against righties, to a testament to the Phillies and how good they are, he bats 8th. That means they have a good lineup against righties if Darren Johnson has to be buried that far down in the lineup. So, Belcanton to Darren Johnson. Here is the pitch. 4-4 off Belcanton is short X again. And the 4E18 shortstop kicks this to an error. And that's sort of the story of the Marlins. Expansion teams making mistakes at the wrong time. A bases loaded error. And the Phils grab a 3-2 lead. And it's Denny Doyle, probably the last batter we'll let Belcanton face. Trying to get out of this. Maybe those Marlins can come back and get him off the hook for a loss. Pitch to Denny Doyle. 1-5 is a roller to second base. So it's a 3-2 game. Belcanton gives up 3 runs through 6 innings, but only 2 are earned. Not a bad gig, really. Bottom of the 6th. Lefty, how do you hold on to the lead? Of course, he should be allowed to. Defensively, there's no improvements on the Philly bench this time. Bottom of the 6th, leading off is Hal McRae. 6-11, first X. I mentioned Darren Johnson's a good defensive player. He's a 2-11 at first. And as soon as I do that, I jinx him, and it's an error. Oh boy. It's a bad defense in this inning. McRae's a C-stealer. Vic Davalillo is the batter. 1-7, let's take a look at Vic Davalillo. 72 for the Pirates, was a 318 hitter. My gosh, the Pirates. How many outfielders did you freaking have? I'm just thinking about, Stargell and Oliver and Matty Alou and Vic Davalillo and Gene Clines and Roberto Clemente and and then Richie Zisk and then Dave Parker. I mean, my goodness, Pittsburgh. No wonder all these guys are strewn throughout major leagues in my carryover league. Vic Davalillo, 1-7 is a double to left field for the 318 hitter. And by the way, he did lead the Pirates in hitting in 72. A double to left field. McRae could try and tie this thing as a 12 runner. No, he'll hold. Second and third, nobody out. Maybe you concede the run, because if you bring the infield up and you get a 2-run single, you're losing. So they'll play back regular depth here with nobody out. Manny Mota. 35, Manny Mota. Single 1 of 13 is a base hit. And just like that, the Marlins come back against the Phillies for the 4th game in a row. Runners in the corners, they don't care that Steve Carlton's out there. They care less. Runners in the corners of a 3-3 game. The infield's going to come up now for Roger Repos. Try and prevent any more damage. 2-9 is a 4-3 fielder's choice. Runners move up. The one runner moves up. So you have second and third for Luis Melendez, still up here. 63, Pitcher X. Can Carlton field? He's an E0 pitcher. And he can. Infield is up, so no runners move. Still second and third with 2 outs. And it'll be Marty Martinez. 69 off of Carlton. Flies to center field. This is a dead even baseball game, folks. If you look, each team has been through their lineup 3 times and scored 3 runs as we go to the 7th. Del Canton. Now, you could say you took him off the hook for a loss. Yeah, but he is a starter 7. They don't have a deep bullpen, and the game is tied. So I'm going to let Del Canton continue into the 7th here against Gary Maddox. 39, flies left. Tony Taylor. 39, flies to left. And with 2 outs, it's Tim McCarver. 34, pops to second base. The decision to continue with Del Canton pays off. He gets 3 straight outs after a rocky 6th inning, helped by an unearned run. Stretch time in Florida. They're trying to win a game in this series. They have yet to do so. We are enjoying Buena Vista Social Club's live performance at Carnegie Hall in, I forget what year this was, probably 95, 96, something like that. Let's go with this one of my favorites here, the Cart Man. All right, bottom of the 7th. In a 3-3 tie, Carlton. It will be Ellie Rodriguez leading off. 52, center. Felix putting me on, 411. Right X. Right fielder is John Callison, a 3-1 in right field, and that's going to be a base hit. Celerino Sanchez, 32, low max. Well, that puts a damper on things. 3-3 in the 8th. How far do we go with Del Canton? How many hits has he given up today? Only 6 hits and 3 runs, and I'm leaving him out there. Give him a chance to win a game. Battling lefty. Probably a career-defining moment for Bruce Del Canton here in the 8th. Ray Glazinski. 2-9 rolls a short. Mike Schmidt. 2-5. Let's take a look at the Schmidt card to finally see it. This is what I'm talking about. This is the same template you'd see in 1980 and 1981. Difference, he'd be a 1. Batting average, a little bit better. I think he hit .316 in 81. Probably have hits in the 2 column, if I had to guess. But yeah, that's what Schmidt will look like 7 years from now. Anyway, 2-5 here, single 1 to 19, he gets it, and he's an ace stealer. Ellie Rod's a -2 arm, he'll hold. John Callison's the batter. 37, John Callison is a base at the left field. Schmidt wants to go coast to coast, 14 against the +2 arm Ramota, makes it a 16, and he makes it on the 15. So he was helped greatly by the +2 arm of left fielder Manny Mota. You got runners on the corners, 1 out, and now you got Boa, Darren Johnson, and Denny Doyle. They're going to bring the infield up and pitch to Larry Boa. With runners in the corners, 1 out. Here's the pitch. 3-12, the infield up as a pop to first. And with 2 outs, it'll be his final batter, Darren Johnson, with 2 on and 2 outs. Pitch to Darren Johnson. 3-10, flies to left field. Mental note to take Del Canton out. Putting on 2 guys in the 8th inning. 8 strong innings in a 3-3 tie. Lefty's a starter 9. He could pitch into extras. Bottom of the 8th. It'll be Hal McRae. 1-9's a base hit for Hal. C. Steeler. Vic Davalillo. Saw his card earlier. 56 is the K. Manny Mota is 3-4-3. The run scored an RBI. 4-11. Right X. This again is Callison, who made a Gave up a hit in the previous inning. He's a 3-1. Makes the grab. And with 2 outs, it's Roger Repos. 4-4 off of Carlton. Triple 1-3 double. It's a double, just misses it. Now, McRae most certainly would run. 12, 13, 14. -2 arm center fielder makes it a 12. Home team can run when it feels like it, and I feel like it. I'm going to try and run McRae here with 2 outs. And he's thrown out on a 20. Trying to make some magic for the Marlins. It did not happen. A 20 is rolled, advancing a runner that will throw everybody out. That's rather disappointing. Oh well. Turns down a little bit there. Buena Vista Social Club. Well, that didn't help the rally. Guy gets thrown out at the plate. It is still 3-3 going into the 9th. Bruce Del Canton cannot get a win. Had a valiant start. Leaves after 8. They're going to turn this thing over to Tom Bergmeyer in the 9th. Take a look at Tom. He was a 9-7 with a .174 ERA for 71 Kansas City Royals. So one Kansas City Royal starter is removed and another Kansas City Royal reliever is brought in. How about that? In the 9th inning, Bergmeyer, Denny Doyle. Batting for Denny Doyle will be Terry Harmon, the right-handed second baseman. Pitch to Terry Harmon. For 10 off Bergmeyer, third X. Third baseman is Sanchez, a 2E34 at third. And a single off his 2 defense. That's a rather bad break for Marlins. Back up top, Gary Maddox. 58 off Bergmeyer, flies to center. Tony Taylor. 2-7. Let's take a look at Tony Taylor's card of 1972. Was a Tiger, actually. Played with the Phillies and Tigers in this era, in this timeline. Great utility player. 303 hitter. All over the infield. Can't play short this year. Most of the time he's listed at first, second, third, and short. But he's got 3 of the positions down in this year. 2-7 is a single to right field. Terry Harmon with 1 out. 14 runner, but he's not going to challenge the Repos arm of -1. It's a 13 chance, and road teams need a 14 or better. So we got runners at first and second with 1 out. Tim McCarver, the catcher, left-hander, will come out. And batting for him will be Bob Boone. Bob Boone will come in as a pinch hitter. Right-handed bat, and Bergmeyer will pitch to him. Pitch to Bob Boone. 38 is a pop to third, and with 2 outs, it is Luzinski. Not a lot you could do here. Cross your fingers, but Bergmeyer's pretty good against right-handed batters. So he will face Greg Luzinski here with 2 on and 2 outs, and here's the pitch. 47, single 1-2-8 off the Bergmeyer card, but he rolls a 13 and he lines out, and the Marlins stay alive. They can't get rid of lefty yet, though. They got to face him 1, maybe 2 more times. He's a starter 9, and he's entering his breaking inning now of a 3-3 thriller in Florida. The Marlins do not want to get swept here. You get swept and you waste that great opening series sweep, and you end up a game under 500. Just a total waste. So they want to win a game or 2 here and keep this thing honest. All right, Louis Melendez will lead off in the bottom of the 9th. 59 off lefty is short X, but you got Boa, the 1E10 shortstop. He makes the play. Marty Martinez. 6'10", short X again. And the same result. They found the short X's on 5'9", 6'10", on the Carlton card. We go back up top to Ellie Rodriguez. 2-9 rolls to short. Is lefty done? He could go extras trying to get a win. Going for that Cy Young Award. Going for one of those 27 wins he was known for. We know Bergmeyer will continue into the 10th. It'll be Mike Schmidt. He's 1 for 2 with a walk today. Pitch to Schmidt. 4-5 off Bergmeyer. Double 1-13 is a 2-base hit for Mike Schmidt. My goodness. The kid is tearing it up this year. Now you have John Callison, who has to come out in this situation. Can't hit lefties, can't bunt, hit and run, or do anything productive. They're going to go to the last guy on the bench, which is corner outfielder Roy Foster, and I think we might see a pitching change. Yes, we do. Let's take a look at Roy Foster first. Roy Foster, a .245 hitter, but he had 18 homers in 71 for the Cleveland Indians. Nice year. And he will leave, and the Marlins, Bergmeyer will leave, and in the 10th inning, Orlando Pena will come in. Orlando, in his third decade of work, he's probably 40 years old here. He pitched back in the 50s, and in 73 with the Cardinals, he had a .218 ERA in 62 innings after missing 3 or 4 years. So Orlando Pena is going to come in the top of the 10th to keep this game tied. He will face Roy Foster with a runner at second, nobody out. Pitch to Roy Foster. 2-5, rolls the third. It is Boa, the runner at second. Pitch to Boa. 59, flies to left, down with 2 outs. It is Darren Johnson. 2-8 for Darren Johnson is single 1-9. Line out the rest, and he lines out the rest. So the Phils have gotten these single chances and missed them. And who do we see in the bottom of the 10th inning? There he is, folks. Lefty's going back out there in the bottom of the 10th, going into extra innings because his team, he wants a sweep of the Marlins so they can get some traction in this division and possibly knock off the Braves or Mets. That's what the Phils have got to be thinking right now if they can get a sweep. You know, at least get a great start. I mean, this team had the worst record in baseball a year ago at the first pick in the draft. And to get a 4-game sweep this early with this new look team of Gary Maddox and Schmidt and, yeah, Twitchell, Dobson. Great, good young team. Bottom of the 10th, it'll be Felix Millan leading off for the Marlins. 5'11", second X. The new second baseman's Terry Harmon. Not as good as Doyle. Terry Harmon's a 3.16 at second base. And that is an error. It would have been an error for Doyle if you were comparing that. So Millan is on. Not a good base stealer, but a good base runner. He's a 16 runner. Celerino Sanchez hits lefties well. That's why they put him in the 3 spot. Here's the pitch. 56 off a lefty is a K. Hal McRae, today he is 1 for 4, scored a run, and struck out. 4-10, third X, and here's the kid, Schmidt. Big defensive play here needed, a 2.26 at third base. And he gets a GBA, Mike Schmidt, look at that. Throwing the leather around in the bottom of the 10th inning, Lefty's day is done. 10 in the books. We'll go to the 11th, could still get a win. Could Lefty, if the Phillies score a run here in the 11th. Orlando Pena will continue. He's a relief 3. He will face Terry Harmon, who led off in the 9th inning. 3-6, homer, 1-3, fly ball to left, and Terry Harmon hits a home run. 3-6 against the righty is homer, 1-3, fly ball. The rest, that should have been an out, but the ball kept carrying. Terry Harmon had 2 home runs in 218 at-bats and hit 1 on each side. He has 29% against righties and 71% against lefties, so they gave him power versus righties in that home run chance. Solo shot 4-3 from an unlikely source. It gets quiet here in Florida. They're down a run. Gary Maddox. 69, second X. Millan is great defensively, a 2.10. He makes the play. Tony Taylor, 58, is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Bob Boone. 1-3, Bob Boone. Let's take a look at the Bob Boone card. He is not quite at that level of defense he would become. He's got a 0 arm here. And a 3-0 arm E5. Would be known better for his defense, but it's a respectable 261 with this card. But 1-3 is homer. 1-16, double the rest, and it is gone. Another home run, and the Phillies take a 5-3 lead off of Orlando, Pena, and the Marlins. I put that in the wrong spot. I put that in McCarver's spot. Let's put it in Bob Boone's spot. There we go. So it's Luzinski with 2 outs now. 1-9, Luzinski is a single. And they beat up on Pena some more. Well, Pena's at least a relief 3, so he's not going to break. So it'll be Mike Schmidt with a runner on and 2 outs with a 2-run lead. The pitch to Mike Schmidt. 38 is a K. Well, Schmidt strikes out, but it was his double play in the previous inning that helped the Phillies get this 5-3 lead. They aren't messing around. They're going to go straight to their closer, Joe Hoerner. All the benches in there. Harmon, Foster, Boone are all in defensively for the Phillies. And they're going to max out with their closer, Joe Hoerner. Let's take a look at him. 1971 Philly, 4-5 with a 1.97 ERA in 73 innings pitched. Probably was not expected to be the closer role and collect a ton of saves, but that's where we are right now, folks. He's going to try and get his 3rd save of the series. And it will be in the 11th inning. We'll face Vic Davalillo. Now, these Marlins, we've seen them time and time again. Once the Phillies do something good, they come right back and punch them in the face. Can they do it again here, or are they going to get swept? We're about to find out. Vic Davalillo leads off in the bottom of the 11th. Here's the pitch. 49 off of Hoerner is a walk. Don't want to do that. And Davalillo will just go down to second base without a throw. He's an ace stealer. With a 2-run lead, you don't want to hold him on and get a single and a plus. So he's at second now, and your batter is Manny Mota. 1-6 for Mota. Let's take a look at the Manny Mota card. And these Marlins, folks, they do not give up. He was a Dodger in 72, hit .323 in 398 plate appearances. Mota will actually play for Florida throughout the timeline as one of the foundational players in the expansion draft. And so 1-6 here is triple, 1-10, double the rest. Does not get the triple. He gets the double. And so Davalillo will hold up at third. No reason for him to get thrown out at the plate. But Mota's in scoring position as the tie run. Joe Hoerner's in a little bit of trouble. Second and third, nobody out for the Philly closer. And it's going to be Roger Repose at the plate. Here's the pitch. 3-12, Roger Repose. Let's take a look at the card. Might remember this guy if you watched the Winter Baseball Classic, which I had earlier in the off season, little tournament of 1971 cards. Roger Repose tore it up with this particular card by rolling 12s most of the time, getting homers and doubles throughout the tournament. And he is a 199 hitter with this card, and probably one of the best 199 hitters you're going to see. 13 homers, 297 at-bats, great defense, and can hit lefties and righties symmetrically. 312, clean double left field. This thing is tied up. Joe Hoerner blows the game, and it's 5-5, and the winning run's at second with nobody out. Louis Melendez might be called on a bunt here. I think he will. Melendez is going to bunt. I hate bunting second to third, but hey, I want to win this game for the Marlins, so let's try and get a break here. 2-9 on the bunt will work. And a 7 is rolled. It is successful. Melendez gets the bunt down, and the winning run, Roger Repose, a 14 base runner, is at third base. He could score on a sac fly pass ball. The infield has to come up for Hoerner. And the batter's going to be Marty Martinez. Here's the pitch to Marty. 6-12, the infield up is first C. So the runner has to hold. A rocket down the first base line, gloved by Darren Johnson. And that holds Repose in his tracks at third. Touches the bag. So now you get the runner at third with 2 outs. And Ellie Rodriguez. Let's take a look at Ellie. Nice player with always a good on-base percentage. A .285 hitter with the Brewers in 72. Plenty of walks on this card. Unfortunately, a walk won't help them much here. But he will swing away. And here's the pitch to Ellie Rodriguez. 411 off of Horner. It is left X, and that's not good because Luzinski is frantically running towards the line trying to catch this thing. He's a 4-13 in left field. This has got like a 95% chance of being a winner, and it is. It's a tough. I don't know if it was 95% chance, but yeah, Luzinski had very little shot of collecting that fly ball. As a 4-13 left fielder with 2 outs, yes, the Phillies, they do have some weaknesses. They don't have any outfield defense for Luzinski, and that only cost them a sweep today. A double to end the game, and the Marlins have beaten the Phillies 6-5. What a heck of a nice game this has been. Orlando Pena actually gets the win after surrendering a couple long balls in the top of the 11th inning. It is 3-1 Phillies in the series overall, and Game 5 will be in Florida. Orlando Pena gets the win. He came in to face RF, Roy Foster, and that right there. So it's out, 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 so he gives up 2 homers and 2 more hits and a K. 4 hits, 2 runs, and a K. And a win. Bergmeyer, actually he gave up a leadoff double in the 10th and was yanked, so we'll give just 3 hits to Pena. 3 hits and a K for Bergmeyer. And Del Canton was really the star of the day as he held the Phillies in check for 8 innings. 8 hits, 3 runs, only 2 were earned. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Phillies will regret 14 hits and only scoring 5 times. Joe Horner takes the loss. Not a good look for him. 3 hits, 3 runs, and a walk in 2/3 of an inning. Ouch. So much for being the closer. That's not very good. And Steve Carlton is scratching his head going, why don't they just let me pitch forever? Why do I have to come out of these games? 10 innings, but 10 hits, 3 runs. Only 2 were earned, a walk and 6 strikeouts. 1-0-0-11, 0-1-0, 10 2/3, 6-13, 5-14. 2-5, 2-6, 2-6, 2-5. Well, Carlton didn't lose. His bullpen, his closer, got the loss. That is Game 4. So we can take a peek at the year-to-date stats for the 2 squads. Both well, the Phillies lost their opening series, but they probably have a winning record. I think they are now a game over. And so are the Marlins. Let's go check this out. We'll start with the Marlins. They started 3-0, then lost 3, then 1-1. So they're 4-3. Hitting 326. Well, if you hit 326, it doesn't really matter. You know, you could be, I don't know, you could be the Pawtucket or Columbus. It doesn't matter. If you're hitting 326, you're probably going to be in the playoffs. So, yeah. 326 with a 4.78 ERA for the Florida Marlins. How long can they keep that up? My goodness. My goodness. A bunch of guys have a ton of hits, that's all I can say. It's evenly distributed throughout this lineup, which is great news for the Marlins. And for your Phillies, they're 5-4. And they're really disappointed they couldn't get that sweep, but they still want to win this series. They're hitting 282 with a 3.95 ERA. Lefty, believe it or not, in 3 starts, has a loss and no wins. 1 complete game. Pitched 26 in the 3rd innings. Joe Horner has a loss and 3 saves. And all those runs, yeah, that was his, yeah, it all happened there. He's got 3 runs this year, and you just saw him. He was good prior to that. Home runs. Mike Schmidt, ladies and gentlemen, in 9 games has 5 homers and 11 RBIs. It's almost like he's remembered how many home runs I rolled for him in 1980 and 1981, and he's preparing me for more of the same. So I appreciate that, Mike, for hitting a ton of home runs, even though it's your second year in the league. So year to date now we have played 117 games, hitting 257. So the hitting's starting to come back up. It was up below 250, 337 ERA. 117 games in. Phillies are still up 3-1. Game 5, after a day off here in Florida, your Game 5 pitcher will be Steve Arlen. And then if it goes back to Philadelphia, it'll be Ed Acosta and Rich Folkers for the Marlins. For the Phillies, it's Twitchell, Pat Dobson, and Steve Carlton will come back for a Game 7 if necessary, on 3 days rest, since he didn't pitch the first 3 games of this series. All right, thanks for checking this out. We'll give you the results of the series at the end of the video. Well, baseball fans, here's that box score from Game 4 you saw, where the Marlins, a remarkable comeback, down 2 in extras, got 3 of their own and stunned the Phillies 6-5. Get a victory there and make it 3-1. There'll be a day off, but they'll stay in Florida for a Game 5, and one of the more bizarre games I think I've ever played is Game 5 you're about to see, with one of the worst demonstrations of defense by a team that's supposed to have good defense, which is the Phillies. We'll get into this. It is Wayne Twitchell versus Steve Arlen. So let's get into this in the top of the 3rd inning for the Phillies. Gary Maddox single, steals a base, and scores on a Tony Taylor single. Okay. Well, before we get to the 3rd inning, let's go back to the 2nd inning. After 2 outs, Tim McCarver makes an error trying to field a ground ball. But it didn't hurt the Phillies. So that's the first error for the Phillies today. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, leading off Ellie Rodriguez, a 3-base error on Greg Luzinski. Oh boy. Followed by a routine ground ball to Denny Doyle, which is another error. So that's 3 errors in 4 batters. And the Marlins get a run. Manny Mota, after a ground out, moves up Davalillo, an RBI single for Manny Mota. In the 4th inning, in the bottom half, Larry Boa, ground ball to Larry Boa, he kicks that. That's a Larry Boa error. He's a 1-10 shortstop. Then after an out, Tim McCarver makes another error. So that's now 5 errors for the Phillies in 10 plate appearances. It will get worse. The Phillies get 3 runs in the top half of the 5th with 5 singles in play. But what I say about the Marlins, they always come back. They've come back all 5 games. Down 3 runs, they come back. Bottom half of the inning. A double walk, a single off of Denny Doyle's defense. A single, a walk, and a single. And this is a 5-4 Florida lead. With some of the worst defense I've ever seen. It goes this way until the 8th inning when, you guessed it, Mike Schmidt leads off the 8th with a solo homer. Game's tied at 5. They go to a lefty, Bergmeyer, to get Johnny Callison out of there, and Roy Foster follows up Schmidt's home run with one of his own. It's 6-5 Phillies. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. Fred Gladding is in there in the 9th inning. He gets Manny Mota out. They need 2 more outs to get a win. But Montanez is the batter. So they go to the lefty Joe Horner to face Willie Montanez. The pitch to Montanez is ground ball first X. That is Darren Johnson. He's a 211 first baseman. It's a single because Philadelphia just cannot field at all. Just has forgotten how to field. You roll an X, you'll get on 70% of the time today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 errors and 1, 2, 3 hits so far. After a fly out, there's 2 outs, a man at first. Jose Pagan hits a ground ball to Mike Schmidt. It's a single. So that's now, I don't know, 8 or 9 guys the Phillies defense have put on base today. 2 on and 2 outs, and Roger Repo strikes out to end the game, and the Phillies actually win this thing with the worst defensive performance and a victory that I've ever seen in all my years playing Strat-O-Matic. Absolute pathetic defense for guys who are, let's just go through them. McCarver is a 4E12 catcher, which is bad, but Darren Johnson's a 2E11. He gave up a single. Danny Doyle's a 2E14. He gave up 2 singles. Schmidt's a 2E26. He gave up a single. Boa's a 1E10. He gave up an error. Luzinski's a 4E13. Well, of course he would give up a hit. Nobody hit a ball to Gary Maddox today. And in right field, nobody hit a ball to Johnny Callison. So sometimes you get games like this. And for Philadelphia to win this thing and to win it on the road, well, that's great news. Because they certainly did not deserve to win this game. I almost want to, if I could have figured out a way to rig this so the Marlins could get the win. Because, I mean, as a feisty bunch, the Marlins end up losing this series 4-1 to the Phillies. And after the opening series sweep, the Marlins find themselves 4-4. After starting 2-3, the Phillies find themselves 6-4. So congratulations, I guess, to the Phillies for winning this series 4-1. That's it tonight from the National League East. We'll see you next time.